Hey everyone, I have come up with a brand new outlining method while I was outlining my novel that allows me to use ChatGPT or Claude or whatever AI you want to create even better outlines that fit a model that you want to use. I am currently calling this the fill in the blank model. So let's dive into what that looks like. And before we get started, you might notice that things look a little different around here. I have just recently moved into a dedicated office space, which will be my place to work on Kindlepreneur stuff, as well as this channel, the YouTube videos on this channel, and my own writing, of course. So I'm very excited to see how this comes along. Right now, I've just barely got things set up. There's going to be more. It's going to get a little bit more professional, but I'm really excited the way it looks already. So let's dive into the fill in the blank method. So this is the finished outline from my Heirs of Dracula book, which I was writing in the live streams. And if you were following along with the live streams, you may have seen this. But as you can see, I started out writing a lot larger chapter summaries. And then I just sort of said, actually, I can get to the more detailed chapter summaries when I get to the story beats. And then I started going a little bit smaller. And I just wanted to get the gist of what is supposed to happen in that chapter. This book was based on the 24-chapter novel outline by Derek Murphy, which you can find here. I have a blog post about it that I reference pretty frequently on this channel, so I'd recommend that you go there and bookmark it. But basically, here's the brief overview. It's divided into 4 sections: Act 1, Act 2A, Act 2B, and Act 3. This fill-in-the-blank technique will work for any outlining template, but it works particularly well for the 24-chapter novel outline because that one has a prescribed step-by-step process. And basically, it makes it just a little easier. So what we have here, let's just say that instead of this outline that we have so far, let's just say we have a couple of pieces missing. And this is actually what happened as I was developing this outline. One part in particular is I really didn't know what the crucial role section should be. So let's just leave that blank. And I also had very little idea of what the unexpected victory would look like, what the ultimate defeat would look like, just some elements of the climax that I wasn't sure about. But I had a lot of it fleshed out already. And what I decided to do, rather than go chapter by chapter and really just fill it all in, what I did is I skipped a couple of chapters, and because I knew that the chapter after that, it was a chapter I knew what would happen in it. And so I just wrote a brief idea of what would happen in that chapter, skipping the ones I wasn't sure about. So let's look at, for instance, crucial role, right? This one is left blank. What should be happening in the crucial role chapter? Well, if we go to the 24-chapter novel outline, it tells us that we see the protagonist taking on a critical task with significant responsibility for the outcome of the conflict. All right. I wasn't sure what this crucial role would be for my main character in that novel. And so what we're able to do here is we're going to use ChatGPT to demonstrate. You could do this with Claude, though, if you wanted. We're going to take this outline and say, the following is a chapter outline that I'm working on. Indicate that you have read the outline by typing read. Okay. And then we paste in the outline below, but we don't really want it to do any analysis yet, which is why I told it to just say read. And because it's ChatGPT and it's good at listening to instructions, it's just said read here. And then if you know what should be happening in that space, you can come here. Let's find the section on crucial role and then just copy and paste this part. We say the following is what should happen in the crucial role chapter. Please brainstorm 10 different ideas for what that could look like in my outline. And then we give it the crucial role description and just let it go from there. Now, as this is going, the reason why this is so powerful is because AI doesn't work very well when it is open-ended. If you have a conclusion, it is much better at plotting what happens between your beginning and that conclusion. In addition, if you only have a few sections that are left out that you're not sure what happened in that particular chapter, but you know what happens in the next chapter, by telling it what happens in the next chapter, it is much better at actually being able to fill in the gaps where you are stuck. So it gave us a couple of options. The protagonist undertakes a daring solo mission to infiltrate the enemy's stronghold. This operation is critical for gathering intelligence. The protagonist is assigned to defend a location crucial to their cause. So this is giving us a bunch of kind of vague answers here. So I'm just going to give it a little extra nudge and say, how would those apply to my outline with my character Mina as the protagonist? Sometimes you do have to update it to make sure it knows it is specific about your particular outline. Interestingly enough, infiltration of the enemy lair, the first one here, is actually something of what I went through when I finally finished the book. I decided that an infiltration actually would work somehow. And so I took that idea and ran with it. But really, this is a really cool technique to brainstorm ideas for your outline if you're stuck in anywhere. But you might be saying, Jason, I have no outline whatsoever. How does this going to work for me? Well, what I have found is when you are in the beginning stages of outlining your novel, if you use ChatGPT to do the full outline, so let's say you give it the 24 chapter novel outline and you say, use this to outline my book, and it outlines, gives you a sentence or two about each chapter. You're not ideally going to be using every single one of those that it gives you, but a couple of them might be really good. And so you can pick and choose, and maybe out of the 24, you pick 6. And you say, these 6 chapters are actually really good. And then you feed it back into the AI and says, I've selected these 6. Maybe you modify it a little bit and say, here's my edited 6. Can you fill in the blank for the others? And you let it go and you see what it gives you. And then you maybe grab a few more of those, edit them down, fill it in, and then say, okay, here we go again. Fill in the blank for all of these sections that are left open, and it will just rinse and repeat until you have something that you like. Additionally, you can go one by one and say, hey, I don't know what this particular chapter is about. Can you brainstorm ideas about the chapter? And it can do that for you. And overall, it is a really great way of outlining your novel. And I hope this has been useful for you, and I will see you in the next video.